Hi there, Gemini. Thank you for joining me for your monthly forecast for August, a month which begins in brilliant fashion for you with a fabulous new moon on the 2nd, which is going to give your powers of communication often your best suit and even greater elan. And part of this comes from the fact that this new moon in Leo, which in itself is very charismatic energy, is forging an alliance with Saturn, which is in your sector of relating, interaction, partnerships and relationships. Therefore, if you have something important to say and you're utterly sincere in how you construct your message, the 4 weeks following this new moon on the 2nd can be really critical for you. And people can be very persuaded by your arguments, or it could be someone's going to be absolutely charmed by you. And what's going to help this process, Gemini, is that Mars, the planet of desire, also moves back into your opposite sign on the 3rd. This is going to give you much more gravitas when it comes to interactions with others. I think there has at times been some quite limiting or difficult responses from people over the last year or so. Not everyone has been enamoured by the way you come across, and your quick-wittedness has actually at times been rather criticised. This new moon is asking you to be much more considered in your approach, but Mars is certainly going to give you much more physical drive and verve. And if you do want to charm people, well, Mars is certainly going to be a real asset in that process. Now, from the 17th to the 28th, Mars and Saturn are going to be combining in your sector of relating, and from the 13th, Saturn starts to go forwards, and that's a very helpful factor. But all through this month, there is a very complex interaction between Saturn and Neptune and a clustering of energy in the sign of Virgo. This begins right at the start of the month when your ruling planet Mercury has relocated into Virgo and is asking you to be more considered around your emotional ideas, family interaction and so forth, even thinking about how you work and perhaps even contemplating working from home. But that starts to get caught up in quite a tricky angle from the 5th through to the 11th, with the dreamy energies of Neptune on one side of the heavens and Saturn on the other. This T-square has the potential to trip you up if you're not careful. Balancing home and work obligations with your closest relationships is therefore going to become quite a theme this month, particularly once Venus moves into Virgo on the 6th, and then by the start of week 3 itself is clashing with Neptune and also Saturn. Now, when Venus and Saturn get into a right angle, it can lead to some relationships coming to a complete close, especially those that are particularly brittle and weak. And what you're looking for, I feel, from really the start of this month is you need ideas to flow and you need that sparkle of communication, but the sincerity and also the emotional nurturing that's so important in the best of close personal relationships also needs to be absolutely right. If it's not, as this month goes on, I do feel that you could find yourself becoming more and more frustrated and even a little desolate if you feel that you're not getting the feedback that you need and you're not feeling that someone close to you really has your best interests at heart. But it's also true that family relationships, or with those people you live with, are going to require quite a lot of patience. Your feistiness can be much closer to the surface with Mars alongside Saturn if you feel that people are being unfairly critical or scrutinizing you in a way that you don't feel is just. And once the Sun moves on the 23rd, there's going to be an even greater emphasis on the more sensitive side of life. But I think what can really force issues out into the open is the full moon, which occurs on the 18th in the sign of Aquarius. This flashes across the heavens and arcs into an angle with Uranus. And it could be that you're going to be more rebellious about getting something finally into the open, especially if you feel someone's being very evasive or controlling and not really hearing out where you're coming from. But as this month comes to a close, Venus does move into the most fabulous part of your scope, one which can really see your personality rev up. But just before then, in week 3, a stellium a collection of energies in the sign of Virgo does suggest that some kind of home improvement scheme, or an addition to the family, or a business based at home, could turn out to be very successful news, or an addition to your family or personal situation for many moons to come. So there is the chance for some real good fortune in week 3, but it's dealing with the issue of how you interrelate with others, whether it's at work or at home, and whether you feel that you're getting the feedback, respect and support you feel you deserve, or whether those close to you feel they're getting it from you. And if not, there could be some juddering moments this month, or sometimes could come to a complete close. And as your ruling planet Mercury slams on the brakes on the 30th, if you do anything dramatic or in the moment, there may be a possibility that you will have to revisit the issue as you head into September. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Gemini. Thank you for joining me. Good luck and goodbye for now.